guys? Welcome to another episode of the Gym Podcast. Man, today is not I can tell you day because then you'll know when I did this, and it's gonna be a couple weeks till I actually upload it because I'm doing shit different now. This time around on the actual podcast, I want to kind of have a couple episodes in the bag before I start releasing episodes, and it's just something something I want to change up because previously I would do pretty much a podcast every week, and the week before a podcast would release, that's when I would record a podcast, and that puts stress, puts time on time on me, time on the person that does the audio. It just puts it into it's just a lot of stress to actually put out an episode every fucking week within 5 days at the most, depending on when I recorded, depending on the schedule I was at. But yeah, this time around it is gonna be for sure different. But man, if you tuned into the first one, shout out to y'all. This is a new studio, new setup. Looks fucking dope.
It
Hope y'all
does.
appreciate it. And man, on this one's gonna be a special one because he was it's funny, man, because I put out a tweet earlier about you because you were actually the first person that I actually reached out to other than my family and friends. Um, and I think personally, man, you went on a limb. You're just it was one of those things where I reached out to you and I'm not too sure on what your thoughts is. You can maybe go into it. Um, but man, I just want to say first and foremost, man, I appreciate you just saying yes. You can actually come onto the fucking podcast because
Yeah.
the first podcast studio was in my second bedroom, and it was weird at first to actually let someone that I hadn't met in person to
Yeah,
come
into
into
your
the
crib.
actual into the
Yeah.
crib.
Yeah.
Um, and it was definitely a cool experience, and we got into a conversation that I had no idea we were gonna fucking get into. But it was dope, man. Swanny, what's up, man? How you doing?
I'm chilling, man. Life's beautiful.
Yeah, yeah. We were talking off air, and there's a lot of shit I want to get into. There's a list of things that I have right here, and first and foremost, though, what I was talking about, it was starting off the actual podcast. It was one of those things where I didn't actually know who to not who know how to invite people to come onto the podcast because it was so new. So you were one of the first people to actually say, you know what,
Hell yeah.
let's try this thing out. But I want to hear from your perspective. What was like the if you remember the initial reaction whenever I just reached out and
The first
you
time,
know,
I don't I was literally just thinking, I don't remember. I don't remember. Um,
man, it's crazy. It was about 2 years ago.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
I remember it was during the pandemic, right?
Yeah, that's another scary
It
thing
was
too.
like during shutdown. Um, I was excited though, because I knew I always wanted to do a podcast, but I'm not gonna I don't want to start one, and I don't want to ask somebody who already has one to
Yeah,
invite
yeah,
me.
yeah, yeah.
So I was like, all right, cool, it's genuine. And then we had mutual friends too. So I was like, all right, so it's probably gonna be a little bit more authentic than if it was just some random. And that's exactly what happened. So came out fire, man. Like I said, people hit me up about that one a lot.
Yeah, man. And the biggest thing I got away from is, man, I didn't realize how much of a spiritual dude you are.
Yeah.
Like I found out that yeah, you're really tapped into the spiritual side. Not to say that you don't look like that or you do look like that, but it's pretty it's dope because I've been in transition to figure out that side, and it's been a struggle, man. It's been a fucking
Oh,
struggle.
it's a never ending struggle.
Yeah, it's been a struggle, man. I wouldn't consider myself like a atheist or anything of that nature, like
Mhm.
because I do believe there's a higher power. I just haven't figured out what exactly I believe it is.
Right.
But yeah, man, that conversation was one of the purest conversations I had on the podcast. So it
Oh
was
yeah, dude. That's fucking awesome to hear.
yeah,
Yeah.
it was dope.
It was really free flowing, man. And it definitely I feel like every podcast should be like that, but you can't really ask for that.
Yeah.
You can't plan that.
I was since we're talking about the spiritual side, where did where did yours start? Where did your like spiritual side come out? Did you go to church when you were younger?
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
raised in like a Baptist church. So like all black Christian
At the
kind
choir?
of like, yeah, the choir. I was in
Yeah.
I would I think I tried to do choir, but I didn't like it. And then I did like ushering. So I was like a
What
usher.
is ushering? What is
You
that?
like invite people into the door, walk them to their
Oh, okay,
seats
okay,
and stuff like
yes.
that.
Yeah, okay, okay.
Yeah. With the white gloves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. How was that for you? I mean, did you like it? Did you didn't like it? What was the experience?
I didn't want to do any of it. I didn't even want to be there half the time, honestly. I was
Really?
always forced to. And my mom kind of like enforced that, hey, you're gonna go to church. And then when I got to about 16, 17, she was like, all right, like it's up to you now. Like
Yeah,
if
yeah.
you want to go. And I was like, fuck this, I'm not going.
Bro, because I mean, it's gonna sound bad, but it's I don't know if it's like this now, but for me, it wasn't the cool thing. Like it wasn't the thing that like in high school for me, there was groups of people that did go to church on a regular basis. They had like Sunday school or Wednesdays or whatever they had. I don't really remember, but it wasn't if you there was a little bit of a stigma towards you if you did. Like there was I wouldn't call it shaming or anything like that, but you were just put into a category where it was like, oh, that's just
like
I
somebody who doesn't
religious. That's
like
just
somebody who doesn't think for themselves,
yeah, yeah,
just kind of
basically.
like brainwashed and
Yeah.
lame and square.
Yeah, yeah.
That's why I didn't like it. That's why I didn't like being there, bro. Because I always, from a kid, it's funny because my mom's the one who like told me like to think for myself. She's like, I'm gonna expose you to this place. You're gonna come in, but like at the same time, she was always teaching me to think
Yeah.
for myself. And I didn't rock with other people who was in the church because of that. I didn't feel like they were thinking for themselves. Or not even just that. I felt like they were hypocrites
Why do you say that?
because like they're judging other people who weren't walking the same way they were. And I feel like that's one of the biggest sins anyway. So there's no level of sins, but um, it says in the Bible not to judge fellow man.
Yeah, it makes
So
sense.
I was like, okay, well, I don't really feel like I can be myself here. I always felt like an outcast. Um, Me and my brother kind of just stuck to ourselves all the time, did our own thing, and um, they didn't like that.
Yeah.
So we didn't get priority picks for a lot of different
Yeah.
things, you know.
It's a trip sometimes when nowadays, like most of not most, but there's a lot of different views, but it still has the religious part of it.
Hmm.
Um, like the LGBTQ community. Like there's I mean, obviously you kind of know the background of that. Like if you're homosexual or if a girl likes a girl, like that's not something that's um like you're just not supposed to do.
Right.
But now I don't know that I've seen sometimes I guess maybe on social media is just it's more forgiving or it's less of yeah, it's like less shame if you're allowed to come into this place of peace
Hmm.
and there's no judging.
Right.
Like I don't care who you like, who you
Yeah, that's what it's supposed to
associate
be.
with.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what my thought was. I guess growing up too, and it got a little weird for me when I started realizing like, hey, this shouldn't be like that. It shouldn't be where you have to hide who you like or hide who
Yeah.
you're married to or whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
It was a little weird.
Yeah. Because then you got these people, group of people who are missing out on a really good message. So because of them feeling uncomfortable to walk into a building, uh, I can relate to that obviously with my story. You know,
Yep.
I kind of took in the message still, but I didn't as soon as I wasn't I have to go anymore. I just stopped. Um, now it's now it's like if you do the shoe's like on the other foot now. It's like, all right, like now if you don't rock with that community, then you're just a piece of shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Nah,
even
for
then
real.
it's
Yeah.
like, yeah, even then it's like, damn, bro, like people should still be able to think how they think. It's just like how it's enforced and
Yeah.
how you express it should definitely be checked, you know?
Yeah. It's me and her get into conversations a couple times and it's like she was just brought up with going to church and being religious and I mean I was to an extent like I remember getting baptized when I was about 7 or 8
Yeah.
but after that and going to like Wednesday school and shit reading stuff in pamphlets and just little shit like that but I never was the type to it just didn't seem just real to me like I guess the best way I could put it is just, it had to be tangible, like, for something to believe in, like,
Yeah, bro. I feel the same way.
yeah, I mean, like, LeBron James, like, you can physically see him go on social media, see him in games, like, you can believe that obviously he's real.
Mhm.
For something like that, it was hard for me to believe in something that I can't
that you
actually
can't
see.
see.
Yeah, that I can't see.
Yeah, I feel you. I
Yeah.
feel you for 100%. I feel you. And then it's like, all right, well, if you don't believe in this thing that you don't see, you're going to hell,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
which is kind of hard to take in. It's easy to reject that at that point. Um, uh, I'm the same way even to this day. So I questioned the existence of God. Not really the existence of God, but um, like the rule book of God, like the Bible and
Yeah,
the stories and Jesus Christ and all that.
yeah,
I question that to the full extent, and which I think um, was good because I was able to see it from the outside looking in, and it took me my actual life and seeing the best way I can explain it is like seeing how this spirit, and that's the best way I can explain it, moved through my life, and there was a constant variable, and that's what it was. Like
yeah,
there was certain things I just couldn't explain, and I had to chalk it up to that. All right, cool. 1 point for that. 1 point for God being real. 1 point for God being real. 1 point for uh, people who believe in the Bible actually being onto something.
yeah,
Um, then it becomes more tangible because you're like, all right, like how many times is um how many times are we gonna have these miracles happen?
yeah.
Um, and then I think about the rule book, and I have a completely different view book on the rule book now, and that's where I think people are fucking up on.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, it's not you need to do this because you're gonna go to hell if you don't. Like, if that's the way you're thinking of it, and that's how I think a lot of these people and like these religious people, because I wouldn't say I'm very religious. I think a lot of religious people, they only do these things because they don't want to go to hell. And then that's not even
I see what you mean. Like you
what
should
the
be
fuck.
you should be doing this because it's good for humanity or whatever.
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah.
Exactly.
I know where you're headed.
And you start looking into the
Yeah,
Bible and you're like, okay, this isn't about control. This isn't about, it's literally about me. And if I were to actually follow these rules to as far as I can, we're not
yeah,
perfect. That's impossible to be.
yeah,
But if I follow it to as much as I can, then my life is going to end up being a way fucking better. Not just because I'm this fucking high and mighty and cooler than anybody else and
yeah.
stronger than anybody else, but literally just because I'm not putting myself through so much bullshit. And that's kind of when I started thinking, I was like, dude, this is not just about, it's not about control. This isn't about, it's literally about just how do you live a better life? How do you become happy?
Yeah.
And then people like discard that and then they wonder why they're all depressed and they wonder why they're hooked on antidepressants and they wonder why the world's the way it is. And it's like, y'all are literally just abandoning the fundamentals
It's backwards. That's backwards. But
for sure.
I yeah, I wanted to. I was familiar with Gary Vee.
Yeah.
Are you? Yeah. So I was watching a interview and he has like priests and I guess people that talk in front of churches. I guess priests are the term. He has like maybe one or two come to like shows and shit, and he had a priest talk to him about the shit that he does is not anything religious, but the shit he does is like practices within like the Bible. So
Hmm.
like helping people, changing people's mindsets for the better. Just all the shit that he does like on a regular basis is good shit for humanity, and that's just practices that are religious.
Right.
Even though he grew up somewhat religious, but he doesn't like actively go to the church or
Right.
actively pray or anything like
Bro,
that.
some
But
of
it's
those are the best people
yeah,
and actually doing the best work, which is kind of a trip, you know?
yeah, like, you're not even thinking of doing it for the religious part of it, you're just doing it because you wanna leave your print whenever you pass away, you wanna have a
Yeah.
legacy whenever yeah,
And it's like you've seen it work in your life. So you're like, all right, cool. Like I have to go tell people, you know, I have to spread this message. And
yeah,
um, I think when people just kind of like get away from that and then they like let the guilt and they let the judgment come over, then of course you're gonna throw the whole shit away,
yeah,
you know?
yeah, yeah. It's, yeah, it's a trip, man. I always like good conversations like this because there's a lot of opinions on the religious side, and it's always cool to see the opposite side, and, I mean, we talked about it a little bit too in our previous conversation a couple years ago, but it wasn't like extent to this, which
Nah,
I like because it just shows, man, the type of person you are, the type of person I am is like free thinking. Like I'm the type of person if there's other ways to think about stuff and it can still amount to whatever goal I have, like why not do it? Like
Yeah.
if it's different. But I mean sometimes it depends to an extent, but yeah, it's just the way I think and
Yeah. I always think about like where everybody's going like right now, like what everybody's doing. Um is usually like not right.
yeah. No, yeah,
It's
I got
usually
it.
like just the blind leading the blind.
Yeah.
So I'm a rebel at heart, and I think that's why I rebelled against the church. That's why I rebelled against the idea of this the hell and on earth and Bible. I believe in hell on earth. I don't know where I was going with that last point, but I literally derailed on that part.
No,
Like
yeah.
I definitely believe in hell on earth and heaven on earth for sure.
Yeah. It makes sense. I've never been the one to yeah, I can't, man. Like I just I couldn't I can't comprehend the fact that there's this place that whenever you do pass away that you're going like I don't know. Like I just I don't know what I think to be honest with you. Like I can't because I've thought about the reincarnation side of it. I thought
Yeah.
about that part, the heaven and hell part. I thought of yeah, I've never really
But
thought
nobody
like
knows. Nobody knows.
yeah,
So to act like what you know, what you believe is the, the fucking truth
yeah, or the
is,
right or wrong type of
yeah.
yeah.
I believe in what I've experienced and what I've experienced through uh like outer body experiences, and you don't need to be on like drugs or anything to experience that, or like dreams. Um, what do you call it? Near death experiences.
Oh shit, okay.
You kind of like get a taste of death a little bit. Um, I think that like we shouldn't worry about the afterlife. Like those things that we were talking about that would take you to hell is what is depression, anxiety,
I see what you mean.
confusion. These are all hell on earth. I think if you live your life like that and you have been vibrating on such a low vibration your entire life and you never fucking figured it out and you die like that, um, who's to say that you don't stay in that low vibration wherever you go next?
Yeah, it's just because you're not thinking of like what you're supposed to be, not what you're supposed to be, but like here, the present. Like that's your thoughts are towards something else that you really can't
And it's
control.
like and it's grabbing you and keeping you from ascending.
Yeah,
So I think of like your body, your soul leaving your body, like
yeah,
like the most like cliche way of your soul leaving your body. Um, that all that bullshit that you let into your life, like I just now started like learning about within the past like year, start learning about like soul ties.
shit. Fill me in, bro. What is that?
Uh, like the bond you make with somebody when you have either like any type of relationship you can have a soul tie, but usually people talk about like sex if you have multiple partners or all the people that you've uh, connected with
Mhm.
through your life. They have some sort of imprint on you. Uh, this one preacher, he goes by Mike Todd. He was talking about how he has, yeah, he's fire. So he was talking about like these pieces of paper and like you put them together
Mhm.
and you glue them together. That's two people having sex. You rip it apart. That's them breaking up, or it was just a one night stand. Blah blah blah. There's residue of each person left on each
Yeah,
piece of
yeah, yeah.
paper,
Makes sense. Yeah,
and I've experienced that myself. And knowing that like there's like little pieces of these people left on me, and I know I left a print on them, and I could probably not even fucking remember their name. Some people don't even remember the names of the people they hook up with, but they
yeah,
still have
yeah,
that bond there
yeah.
because of the amount of chemistry, the amount of chemicals that are released during sex, and a lot of the things that we're not told about at all, at fucking all.
Yeah,
And yeah,
yeah.
bro, I think you have all those things, and you haven't found any closure, and you lived your whole life like that. Then I wouldn't expect uh, for your soul to like travel that much further than where we're at after you die. You probably do get locked into some weird fucking limbo
Yeah.
space. And that's why we have fucking ghosts in our kitchen and shit. Like, oh, release
You
me.
believe in ghosts, bro?
Uh
What's your thought process on that?
um I've never experienced it, bro.
So you're on the no side.
No, I'll hear some shit. I'll see some shit move, and it's easy for me. Just
Yeah,
that didn't just
yeah,
happen.
yeah.
I've
Hilarious.
lived my whole life like that,
Yeah.
so works
Same
for
way.
me.
Same way, same way. Even though my sisters used to, I was telling her my sisters used to play with the Ouija board when
Yeah,
they were
nah,
like
fuck that.
and when they were teenagers, man. And I've never like dealt with it. I would just sit there and watch, and dog, it was kind of trippy, man. With this type of shit
Oh,
that
so
you would.
you watched it,
Yeah, so I watched it. I just never,
and the
man.
shit was moving, or what?
Yeah, but so let's see. So this was 2004, 2005. So I was, what is that? 10 years old, 9 years old. So me being the dumbass that I am, I say a dumbass like because I'm just a laughing person. Like I always like to make jokes about shit. Like I always thought my sisters were just fucking with me. Like
Yeah,
they're just like nah. Like my thought was you're moving that, but I didn't really understand what it was at the time. And then I started getting older, and I was just like,
that shit was real.
maybe that shit was real.
Yeah,
Maybe,
dude. I think that shit's real. I'm
yeah.
not gonna lie. So then I guess I do believe in ghosts. I guess, but I just don't really think of it um,
Like
uh,
the
like the physical manifestation of
yeah,
like
yeah,
seeing them and shit like
yeah,
that.
yeah. I
I
know what you
haven't
mean.
seen that. So, and I've heard stories from people that I actually do love and don't think are crazy. But I'm like,
Yeah, it is.
whatever.
All right. So the we were talking off air, and you said you had a long story about it, and I personally want to know because if it's a story that is pretty long, 9 times out of 10, that it's pretty good, and is I mean, I might learn something out of it. But your hair, man, you
Yeah,
have you had a long lock of hair for a
a
while.
long
The
time.
the last podcast we had, you had a good head, you got a good head of hair. So why the cut, man?
Um,
Why'd you just go for a three on top and that
it
what?
took me a while to come up with the words for it,
Yeah.
but I had to shake up the algorithm, like my algorithm, like not like Instagram algorithm, but my life like the type of people and the type of energies and the type of attitudes that I was attracting just didn't make any sense anymore.
Your hair was attracting this or just,
Not just the hair. I needed to do something radical to shake shit up, and then everything else would have fell along with it.
was it the image you were portraying?
Probably,
Yeah.
probably,
Okay, I can see that.
probably. And um, a lot of people when I would bring it up, bro, you can't cut your hair, dude. You're Swanny Ivy, bro. Like
Yeah.
you that's you, man. Like
Yeah,
you're
that
your hair. And I was like, fuck that, bro. I'm not my fucking hair. That
yeah,
shit pissed me off, you know?
yeah.
And these are people that were close to me, and I was like, nah, fuck that. And I just woke up one day, and those same people who were saying that love it. You know, they're like, oh, dude,
Yeah.
honestly, I couldn't, honestly, I rock with it. Not gonna lie.
Shit, going back, like, we've had mutual friends, and I've known about you shit since 2011, 2012, and, I mean, you didn't have a full head of hair like you did now. It
Hmm.
was what you're rocking right now, so
Yeah.
it wasn't anything new to me, but
Yeah.
the
But the
people.
people came along,
Yeah,
the majority, 90% of the people came along, and I had long hair.
yeah.
Um, but dude, I wasn't, I feel like I was just suffering in silence, and I didn't even know it because I was so used some people might be like, dude, it's just hair, but it really wasn't. Like, I had a homegirl of mine who told me, like, after I cut it, she was like, I'm not gonna lie, like, you were like a walking red flag. She was like, I thought you looked hot and everything, but
Yeah.
you were like a fucking neon sign. Like, and I was like, and
Yeah, so yeah.
I started thinking about it. I was like, damn, like, that's that feeling I had when I kept on like leveling up. I kept on like getting wiser. I kept on learning lessons. And then I'd go look in the mirror and I'd see somebody who didn't really like correlate with where I was mentally.
Yeah.
But then I'll be like, well, this is my job. Like, I gotta continue to put on this show. The show must go on, you know? So I was sacrificing um leveling up to just like stay in this algorithm that was like
Mhm.
feeding me bullshit. And um the amount of time dude, I had my barber, I had a girl that twisted my hair, and I had a girl that cut my hair. So I had 3 people working on my hair, bro, as a man. And then in
The
between might twist my own shit.
Yeah.
So I'm sitting in front of the mirror. Bro, fuck no, man.
So there's 2 things. So that's time because you gotta
Time,
obviously and then
yeah,
money because that's
yeah,
just not cheap.
yeah. Like, the time though, like, the money's like, okay, fuck it.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
the time, like, I'm like, all right, I started doing the math. Like, how much time have I spent in front of a mirror? Like, how much time am I wasting on Earth standing in front of a fucking mirror, twisting my shit up or making sure my shit's still healthy? And like, it was just a lot, bro. If I would have dreaded it up, it probably would have been like a lot easier to
Yeah.
maintain and stuff. But
Now it's just the I guess the maintenance part was probably the
yeah,
thing about
and
it,
then
yeah.
it was like, I always told people it was, I'll have my hair back when I'm, like, tripping and I'm, like, fucking, like, wanting to be vulnerable with people. Like, our last podcast, I had my hair back, you
Yeah,
know
yeah,
what I'm
you did,
saying?
yeah.
But then when I'd go this is where it gets a little deeper. When I know I'm about to go into the matrix, when I know I'm about to be like, "Alright, like, I can't really show people who I really am." Like, you're talking about your spiritual side. That shit's not for everybody, you know? I gotta protect that. I would I would cover my face with my hair and put shades on to protect my spirit, you know,
When you say matrix, what are you talking about?
like the the surface level, the superficial.
We talked about it last time, and, is this something that you do, like, doing on drugs, or is just this
Nah,
it
you walk amongst people who think a certain type of way,
I see what you mean.
and in order to succeed in that, you can't scare them away and start talking about, bro. Like I've been in rooms where I really like showed my spiritual side when I shouldn't have, and it fucked up the mission.
'Cause you're being vulnerable to somebody. Yeah,
Yeah,
I see.
yeah, and they didn't they I started realizing they were like, "Oh, this dude's like he's too ballsy. Like he can't be saying shit like this, bro. Like we're trying to stay right here, bro, and you're talking about some shit that could fuck everything up. But to me, like this is my way of thinking all the time, you know?
Yeah,
Like I'm ready to destroy everything that we've been working on if it means to build something better."
yeah,
And they're like, "Nah, bro, we want to stay right here." And that scares people and that could fuck up the bag, you know?
yeah.
But now I know like I don't really give a fuck.
Yeah. No, bro, that's it's crazy, man, because the shit you say sometimes I see granted I don't go out a lot and it's for a lot of reasons. Man, we were having a conversation the other day just about the it's a tangent, but just about the crazy shit that's happening in the world today. Um and I stopped drinking alcohol for shit. It's been a while, man. It's been let's see, this is August, September. What would you say about since Lake Tahoe? Since December of last year.
Oh shit.
So about 8 months.
Fire. Hell yeah. Congrats.
Yeah, and it was a lot of things. It was the fact that so it was before that though, but that's when, like, I officially kinda stopped, like,
Yeah.
the whole thing. Because I had and I'm Imma get to the what you're talking about, but this is a tangent that kinda correlates. But I stopped, man, because there was shit I was doing that, I just I didn't like, man. Like, it was somebody I was I think I was running from it was like my escape from, like, the true feelings or the true pain that I was supposed to feel,
Yeah.
and that's what I think that's now thinking back on it, I think that's what I was running away from. 1, I can be doing so much more shit than what I'm doing right now,
Yeah.
and then on top of that, the people around me, not to say my friends because 'cause they're excluded, because 'cause I'll love them no matter what, but I was putting myself, like, on a higher place, like, "Damn, these people don't think the way I'm thinking, the way I've thought, the way I've like just the way I think. Like they're not on my
Yeah.
wavelength.
Yeah. Yeah. Straight up.
That's what I was.
And you were able to get on their wavelength by pouring a drink
Yeah,
and maybe second one in.
yeah,
You know, now I started realizing like the second drink I get anxiety. And then it's the third one. Or maybe it's the first drink I start getting anxiety. Cause I'm piped up, bro. Like you're piped up. Like you're vibing high.
yeah, yeah,
And you're thinking now like the only way I can talk to these people is to lower my vibration by drinking. So I feel like that when you start feeling it, I would start getting anxiety and
yeah.
shit, you know? And yeah, bro, that's exactly what I'm talking about.
And it's not to say like I don't have any problem with drinking. Like honestly, I can care less as far as what other people do. Like I'm literally it's me, myself, my friends, her, my family. Like it's that's it. Like I don't care what anybody else is doing to an extent. Actually, I've opened myself to the people that actually come on the podcast because I'm grateful for the like the notice that I've gotten from the podcast,
Mhm.
having other people, their fans, their family, whatever. So I'm grateful for that. So I've actually opened myself to actually knowing what goes on in their life, like by the shit they post on social media.
Yeah.
Don't really go much further than that unless I talk to you personally in DMs and text messages. But I forgot what I was going. But anyways, we will.
You were saying that you
Yeah.
didn't have a problem with people drinking or anything like that,
Oh,
like
okay, yeah, so I recently told one of my buddies at work that there's people on social media that I had to unfollow because that's all they would
yeah,
do.
bro, straight
That's
up,
all they would do.
and it
Every like, to a point where it was, like, Thursday through Sunday,
mhm,
every single night. I'm like, "That's money. That's time." Like, how are you it's yeah, you can be just doing so much more, man.
yeah,
So
and
much fucking more.
they that's just how they're dealing with it, you know, everybody has their way of dealing with
Yeah.
it, and they haven't found that escape, so that's, like, the easiest way, bro, like, if you're my thing is the next morning is way worse than what you felt
Yeah.
before you started drinking, whatever you're running away from, that next morning is way worse than just facing that shit.
Yeah.
I mean, it used to not be that way, but now I'm older, getting older. Like, bro, my hangovers are crazy now, and that
Yeah.
shit. I used to not give a
Yeah.
fuck. Now I'm like, bro, this is not it. I still, like I said, like I still drink here and there, and I'm realizing that I know why I'm doing it. You know, a little glass of wine at night by myself is different than um me drinking to be social.
Yep.
And
It's gotten to a point, man, where it's hard to say this. It is to a point where I've like obviously my friend's a DJ at places here on St. Mayor's Strip, right here, a couple places, and I'm taking myself away from going to those places because I just don't want to drink, man. Like
yeah,
I don't want to put myself in those positions, and it sucks because these are the friends that I've known for 15 plus years, and it's
hmm
just like fuck. I wish there's sometimes they were doing something different,
I
something
commend you
fucking
on that,
different.
bro. It's not
Yeah.
hard. It's not easy, man. I think it's necessary to see how those people react to you, though.
Oh yeah, it's all love, bro. Like
Yeah.
it's yeah, from the yeah, man. They've been doing it for a while now. I'd say about a year, and I mean, Eric Hyman, they it is shit. I To me, it's what they love. It's their passion. They love the music. They love the vibe that it comes with. But they understand, and I don't think I've ever talked to them. The conversation we're having now,
hmm
um, but I'm sure they'll understand.
Yeah. No,
I'm sure
I
they.
know Eric would. I know he's all about elevating to the highest you can get to.
He's something else,
Yeah.
man. He's kind of just the first time it's funny, man. I don't think I've ever told you. Maybe I did where they kind of pressured me, not pressured me, but they wanted me to do shrooms. That did I take no? Okay, wow, you're finding out right now. But yeah, there he was we were in the studio one time, man, and he was just like talking nah, this was like a year ago, a year like last summer. He was talking about experience him and Jazzy were having, together, and they did it at the same time, and, apparently, well, based off what he's saying, like, they became closer, they got into, like,
Yeah. I
a
think
trip that
he told me about that.
yeah, they got into a trip that was, they just became closer, and I was just like, "Hey, kudos to you, bro," but, yeah, I'm not tapping into that shit,
Yeah,
bro,
bro. It's. I mean, you're opening portals.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's very. You got to be responsible. You know what, bro? Speaking of shrooms, last time we were on your podcast, there was one thing I said that I was like, oh, why the fuck did I say that?
Do you remember what it was? What
Yeah.
was it?
I said something about the whole world be like better if everybody just took psychedelics at one time or
I
some shit.
remember that shit.
Bro, I swear to God, I really was thinking that way, like at the time. And I had to really like come on here and be like, that's bullshit, kids. You know what I'm saying? Like,
What was your thought process on that though? Like, why'd you say that? Do you remember?
because
Like,
I
you
saw how it was working for me,
I
and I
see.
realized that not it's not gonna always work that way.
Everybody's different.
Everybody's different.
Yeah.
Um, and there's doors that are being opened, and I'm bro, like I'm one of the most mentally uh strong, like when it comes to uh no, I'm not going to,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
not gonna let myself slip,
Yeah.
you know. And there's other people that don't come back because they let themselves slip,
That's what I was gonna say
and I would
too.
hate to fucking like cheer that on, like, oh, and then they lose their mind, you know. I'm like a fucking rock, man. Like I can be in the middle of the strongest trip and still like reach out to God and feel Him, you know.
Mhm.
I and I'm lucky for that.
Yeah. Not a lot of people have the mental strength that you have, that I have, that some of the people I hang around with have, and yeah, it would suck to put them in a position where
Yeah,
they
man.
actually kind of
I
take
have
that to
I
another.
started experiencing mostly acid. I haven't seen it with shrooms, but I've been seeing over and over at least 3 times people that I knew, I no longer know them anymore because of acid.
Is that something because they just kept doing it, or they're
Uh,
abusing it?
they probably were predispositioned. You know, they probably had like some sort of mental issue
I see
that
what you mean.
wasn't really full blown, and that was all it took for them to.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Now all of a sudden they're hearing voices and shit.
yeah.
You know, when before it was just like a whisper.
No, yeah.
Now it's fucking full
It's
blown.
it sounds crazy, but man, so
You never
yeah,
know.
my mom's told me crazy experiences. We my I've had my mom on here a couple times, and yeah, I don't think it's her place to talk about what she's done when she was younger, but yeah, she has a ton of stories about that shit when she was younger, man, and then, yeah, I believe it. I
Yeah.
believe it 100%.
And there's no like what I'm saying is not a fact. I just that's what I think.
Yeah,
Like that's what I think happened. I think they were already, and just to see where it derailed their life, that they're no longer able to live a regular life now is so fucked up. One of them ended up in jail, and he was a good kid, man. He was like a little bro to everybody
yeah,
else, and to see him do that, and we were always partying and turning up, and he was always watching us. You know, um, I started having to like look at the things I'm saying. Um, the music I make is very influenced by drugs. You know, um, I had to start looking at my lyrics and like, okay, like this is working for me, and it really made me the person I am today. But this is not the way you have to go, and I don't fucking recommend it.
yeah.
Like, uh, not that I'm saying like it's bad to like if you know yourself and you want to do what you do, bro. Hey, like, but if you want to be fucking smart and you don't want to roll the dice that way,
It's a lot of
then
risk. Yeah,
yeah,
there's a lot of
there's a
risk.
lot of risk. I think there's a difference between I know acid comes from a natured soda shrooms. Um, you don't know most of the time what you're getting.
Yeah,
So there's a chance that he didn't even take real acid, you know. Uh, like I said, I haven't seen any like really horror stories off of like mushrooms like that where they were like fucked for life.
yeah,
But you don't know what's going. You don't. Nobody actually knows. So it's there's ways to like to raise your elevation. I mean your frequency without that, and it's also might not be super sustainable.
for some people. Yeah,
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 you know, like people can microdose
yeah,
and it helps them out, and I think that's fire. Like I think we need to get like medical people involved. Like we need to get doctors involved to like make sure they can tell who needs this, who needs that. You know, I'm not that fucking guy.
yeah. That's what we were talking about last time, right? I think you touched on that the microdosing part. Like,
Hmm.
I mean, obviously you do it for whatever reasons you do it for, but yeah, I would yeah, not to put Eric's business out there, but he was talking about that doing that shit too.
It's cool, bro. We
And
already
it's
put his business down
yeah,
there.
he don't give a fuck. He would say it too. Man, we need him. Ah, yeah, well, I have
He'd
him.
be a nice co-host.
So I have him on a podcast that I'm never gonna release because of the stupid shit we said.
It's probably a good podcast.
Yeah, it's pretty funny. But you transition into the music part, and if people don't know that are listening, you make music.
Yeah,
You're, in my opinion, really good at it. I'm a fan.
thank you.
I've been listening for a while. I mentioned, not gonna mention now because you felt some type about the album that I said, but Imma say it anyways. Truancy, I've been listening to
Oh,
that. But yeah, that so I've been listening since that, man, and the elevation of your music is I can tell it's heavily influenced by drugs, but it's to me, the shit is different from what people are making nowadays.
yeah,
You don't see a lot of people making music the way you're making music,
yeah,
and it's a dope creative part that you're paving for people that either wanna make money and wanna make music like that, or that don't even realize that music is out there like that. Like, it's
yeah,
pretty crazy.
yeah.
But I have it written down, man. Shit, this was I think you released it, if I'm not mistaken, actually 2 years ago, man, August 2020, Neon Cocaine,
Mhm,
176,000 views.
mhm.
Did you realize at the time dropping that music video that you were gonna get that much views?
No, no, and the song was already out for like a year or 2.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say too next.
Yeah, it was already out, so, that was kinda proof that you put bread behind something, you can revamp it,
Yeah.
and that's really what that was, like, um, the right person question from Davies Entertainment.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
I've had
So
him on the
he
pod too.
yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
That was dope. So he contacted me and he wanted to see if he can blow something up that my shit just wasn't reaching the audience. So he wanted to see if he can just take something to blast off. I think we tried one other song before that, and no, that was the first one he tried, and we hit a really good fucking algorithm in the YouTubes and shit, and the type of people that it attracted was really fucking refreshing. And I started feeling like finally that I was getting people that were like more like me listening to my stuff,
Yeah, yeah.
and the comments weren't just fire emojis, fire bro. Like it was like people who wanted to really talk about shit and
There's
like
actually words in the
yeah,
comments. Yeah, I know what you mean.
yeah, real
People explain.
thoughts
Yeah.
and instead of just thoughts, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. I wanna touch on, fucking headphones. I wanna touch on Question though. Yeah, he's obviously OG, man, and the conversation I had, he posted, a reel of the conversation we had on his Instagram, and, man, I was watching it back, and I work after I think the next day or the day after that, man, I watched, like, some of it, maybe about 15, 20 minutes, and, man, that's probably one of the craziest conversations I had with somebody, and it's weird to see the type of knowledge this Question has, man, like,
Yeah.
he is an OG, bro. Like
Yeah.
that is one of the guys that he's been through it. He's accomplished a lot, and he's still creating shit.
Yeah.
It's dope.
Yeah. When he talks, it'd be like I'll be losing track of time and shit. I'd be like just locked in, you know. Nobody really can spit that type of game at you,
Yeah,
especially not in the city, and really like have the record to show it,
yeah,
show for it.
yeah,
Uh, we're lacking OGs, bro,
yeah. There's I can't think of anybody in his I guess area
because all the
other
OGs are fucking haters, bro.
than yeah, more than
I
likely.
have a theory on that too.
Go ahead.
But are we done talking about question or we can we'll swing
Oh,
back.
okay. No, we're
I
not.
was about to
So
say I feel like you were touching on something.
yeah, I was. I was gonna ask you, can you explain what the like switch up was on the music video, like to kind of hit the algorithm? Like, what did you do different on the YouTube video?
So the way YouTube works with like ads and shit, like the amount of money you put behind it only matters so much. You have to find it has to it's like the Instagram algorithm. Like if you get a certain amount of likes within the first hour, then it pushes it out to more people,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
off
yeah.
of performance. So that's why you gotta do it at the right time of day, blah blah blah, all that shit that I don't like. I don't like
Too much
fucking
shit.
yeah,
Yeah,
dude. I don't like any of that. So he likes that shit. So we were able to target like just people who kind of make music like me, those fans, and which has always been really hard. But we hit it somehow. I can't remember which song. I think it had some like I don't know if it was like a Tame Impala, some shit. Um, they just started pouring in from there, and we really that was it, bro. Like I'm doing the same shit in my music. I'm doing the same. I mean, the music video definitely had a pretty consistent theme. You know, so I think that helped out. It was simple. A lot
yep,
of my music videos are kind of like complex, and if you don't know me, you might just be like, "Who the fuck is this guy? And what is he? He's making crazy faces and shit."
yeah,
That
yeah.
one was kind of just like regular, like easy to
Mhm.
digest. Um, and I think that helped out a lot. But other than that, bro, it was literally just the right people,
Yep.
the right time. YouTube saw that it was getting a lot of love, so they just kept pushing it out, and it was just never ending love, just kept on coming in.
I wanna. Was it the same thing with God Loves Me, or was that how was that? Because
God,
you have I fact checked this. You have 156,000 views, so it's not that far off from Neon Cocaine.
so God loves me was like, I wish I could like take away like half of those views from the fucking video because
Why is that?
it didn't I feel like we put more money into the wrong direction and it didn't catch on like the way Neon Cocaine did.
Yeah,
And then it just put a bad taste in my mouth afterwards. I was just like, dude, I don't like this shit. Like, I don't like my views going up and barely getting a few subscribers. I don't like that shit. Cause then it looks like I'm like faking this shit.
yeah,
It
yeah.
makes it look like I'm like trying to put on this fucking, this show that I'm like got more fans than I actually have.
Like you have a machine behind you or something. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, I don't need
They're
that shit, bro, like,
yeah.
because 'cause I've kind of gone the longest route possible, so that kinda, like, makes a few steps back.
Can we talk about that, man? Because that's an interesting point. Because nowadays people want instant gratification, instant shit to start moving at the time they drop a song on SoundCloud or the time
Yeah,
they drop the a song on DistroKid or TuneCore or anything like that. They just want instant love,
Mhm.
instant things, and you're one of the few people that been doing it for 10 years, 11 years, 12? What would you say? When you first started making music?
When I first started making music, like 10 years ago,
10 years ago?
maybe, yeah. Like,
So,
I didn't start taking it seriously till like 4 years after that, but yeah.
okay. But still, like, you've been you've seen the growth of, hard copies and streaming and the internet take over and the way music business has changed, and then 2, I mean, you've been in for the long game, like, in my opinion, you have some good experience behind yourself where
Yeah.
you know, um, like, some of this shit takes hard work to actually get to where you wanna get it to.
Yeah, I mean, I always well, for when you say instant gratification, like, that's, like, the fucking the problem with everything right now, not even just music, like, social media, get the likes right away, like, instant, validation,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah, yeah.
Um, that's where the world's going, and I kind of didn't really know that I was doing it the opposite way. I just knew I didn't wanna do what the fuck everybody else was doing because it wasn't me, and then I would have to live with that and try and look myself in the mirror at the end of the
Mhm.
day. Um, so I wouldn't even say that I knew I was going the long way or at all. I was just trying to, like, do something new. Like, me, I knew I was different, so I had to do something different, and, um, then I looked up and it had been, like, 8 years.
Yeah. I was g yeah, so, I mean, at the point where where it came into your head where like, "Damn, this has really been a long journey." Was it satisfying? What was it like, "I would rather do it this way than any other way?"
Yeah. Yeah, man. Um, fuck yeah. I don't think I'm anywhere near close to my peak, and I've been in this shit for so long, and along the way of this journey, I've realized that if I would have gotten, my instant gratification when I first started, bro, I would have fucked it up. I would have fucked up my whole life, man. I was not ready for that type of fame, money. Um, I would have I would have
Yeah.
fucked that bag up so bad. Um, and then, like, knowing where my ego was back then, I would have only made it worse after destructing. Just like, when you blow up really fast and then things don't work out, imagine how hard it is to go get a job afterwards.
Yep.
Not because
Yeah.
they're not gonna hire you, but because where your mind's at, you don't wanna be seen working at this place now, blah, 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 you know? Um, I probably wouldn't have. And along the way, um, I made sure that I didn't really, like, lock myself into any type of image or any type of trend, um, so that way I could always fit into whatever outside of music venture I wanted to do because I'm more than music, and I've always known that. Not really, I kind of just
Yeah.
started kinda grasping onto that, but, like, I knew, like, in school, I got fire ass grades. I knew I was could if I put my mind to something, I could be good at it. I didn't wanna lock myself into that, and usually when you blow up really quick, you're locking yourself in somehow. It's
Mhm.
very rare that somebody blows up fast and doesn't lock themselves into some sort of image or something
Mhm.
that they have to work 10 times harder or pay 10 times more to
Mhm.
to get themselves out of that contract or that image
Mhm.
or rebranding, all that shit, you know? So, I feel like I definitely dodged a lot of bullets after that. And then I learned how to, just, like, stop and smell the roses, just probably, like, last year and just be a human being.
Yeah. I wanna touch on the locking yourself in a box, man. It's a little thing for me, but it's the reason why I did it. It's because, so my YouTube channel is under my name, like my first and last name. I didn't wanna make a podcast YouTube channel because I didn't wanna be known as just a podcast guy. Like,
Mm,
honestly, I haven't done it in a while, but I have other videos on there that show I have 2, 3 vlogs on there. I have a couple mukbangs, but that's what
yeah,
I wanted to do.
yeah,
Like I said, I haven't done it in a while, but, like, I just didn't wanna be, like, oh, the podcast guy. Like, I wanted first and foremost, my first and last name to be on there because I wanted people to actually know my name and who I was, but I just didn't wanna lock myself in that box. So, it was, like, a little thing for me that it was the reason why I did it. So, yeah.
Yeah, you know that this isn't just it,
Yeah. Yeah,
and
yeah,
it's just like one tentacle on the octopus.
yeah,
I don't know why I said octopus
yeah.
like that,
Uh,
but yeah, that's
yeah,
definitely that's smart, bro.
yeah, and I've been in a little weird spot lately. One of these days I'll talk about it, but definitely not now. Haven't got the courage to actually talk about it, but it's been a tough time, man. This past year has been one of this past year. The year before has been one of the toughest times of my life, and I'm just figuring out now that it could be worse, and it's just part of my journey. It's just part of the things that I have to go through. But I want to stroll into this, keeping on the music part. We talked about Mateo, and I had Mateo on the last time. How was that? He has his own, I wouldn't say genre, but his style of music that's different than not a lot of people um, make, similar to you. But how was that experience working with him? Because I've seen a couple of IG stories, a couple of like
Yeah,
just collabing. How's that experience been with working with Mateo?
it's just genuine, bro. Like, I don't really like think too hard about it.
Yeah,
We just like,
just flows together.
yeah, it's usually fun. That's probably like somebody who when we're in the studio, I'm laughing half the time. You know,
Yeah,
we're
he's a
just
character, bro.
yeah, we're like laughing our ass off. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Uh, we have records that aren't out right now that we just like made off of just like on some like late night, just
Mhm.
fucking around, and it came out fire. Um, you know, he tells me that he learns from me. I know I learned from him. Definitely two different styles. Uh, crazy ass performer. So I've been doing like shows with him. I might be on the lineup, or I might just like
Yeah,
perform a song with him. Crazy ass performer, you know.
yeah.
So there's a lot to be learned from each other from being in two different styles, and the fact that we're both like came out around the same time. We've
Yeah,
been the longevity that we've held.
that's what I talked about with him. Like he's first started, I think this was maybe 2014. He can probably talk about it a little bit more, maybe a little bit sooner than that. I think he talked about it when he graduated that he started taking, or his senior year, he started taking music serious. But yeah, we talked about too the longevity of the music, the style has not necessarily, it's still the same, but there's other experiences you go through that makes it better, and you can
Yeah,
talk about a lot more shit. And that's another thing that maybe I have mentioned it, but you have people making music at a young age and can't really talk about anything. Like,
yeah,
like, what are you supposed to talk about when you're 15 years old making music? Not to say that you can't, or not to say that you haven't been through experiences, but versus at an age that we're coming shit damn near close to our 30s, you
yeah.
have a lot more shit that you actually been through, and I mean that's basically what it is.
That kind of that kind of goes back to what I was saying about the OGs and that we
Yeah,
don't have OGs because they're always hating on us. Um, I th- I have a theory that we were we like our generation came out making music at a young age where we didn't have shit to talk about, and so our music was like, just for instance, like Lil Pump, that whole SoundCloud era.
yeah, yeah,
The OGs were just hating on us, and we're just like, this is some fucking trash. How the fuck could y'all be digesting this? Blah 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 blah.
mhm,
And then that comes back to saying like we're young. Everybody's young. We don't have shit to talk about, so we're just talking about some bullshit. I feel like I look back on in the '80s and shit, and those artists were like in their 30s and sometimes in their 40s, and they're just now peaking. They're just people are still like the top hits, bro. Like they were in their 30s. A lot of them. Some of them were young, but there was a lot more
yeah.
like middle-aged motherfuckers making music back then, and they were talking about some real shit, you
It's
know?
crazy you say
The
that.
music was deep. Um, I think we're gonna be the ones to do that, to break that barrier, because 'cause we're not gonna be looking back at the young niggas hating on them because we know
Mhm.
how that feels. We're just gonna keep making shit. I feel like my music's only gonna get better as I get older because of the shit I'm talking about.
Yeah,
It's gonna touch people's hearts, and a lot more than the shit that I was making maybe 10 years ago. Um, so I feel like people wanna say that you're washed up when you get older and this shit. I think the long game is super fucking important.
yeah,
Like, don't don't give up your youth too quick in the first 5 years of blowing up by fucking doing too much drugs. Now you look 40 and shit. Like, bro, there's a lot more that there's the fucking frequencies keep going up
Mhm.
higher, 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 higher. Your ears get adjusted. You're making better shit. Some people might not, you might not keep the same people around because they only liked you for that song or that type of shit, but they were never really that fucking locked
Yeah,
in anyway. So it
yeah.
doesn't matter.
I think people are realizing now, and I've preached it to some extent, and I've talked about it a couple times, but there's a lot of time between, like, you think about the age you're at right now, and you double that, you're still less than 50. And then on top of that, the average life, 80, 90, 95.
Hmm.
You still have
Bro, I thought about that today.
you still have 2, 2.5 more lives, like where you're at right now, to go
Hmm.
if you're still at, like, I think about that shit sometimes, and it's just sometimes people can't grasp or can't comprehend the fact that there's still a shit ton of time
Yeah, I
within their
understand, bro.
lives.
I understand because I never really, I think just until maybe like this year, I started entertaining the fact that I was gonna get old.
Yeah.
I didn't think I was gonna make it that far.
Why is that?
Um,
Like, far as living this far?
no, I didn't think I was gonna get old.
Dang, why?
Actually, like
Yeah, you can say it if you can, if you want.
I thought the world's gonna end before then.
Is that a true, like,
Yeah, I thought like, yo, this shit's not gonna last that much longer. Just seeing the way the world's going and how
I mean, you're not fucking
I feel
wrong.
like things are spiraling, and I feel like I'm like, okay, like I'm kind of peeping shit. I'm looking at all the movies that are being made in Hollywood and shit, and I'm like, all right, like this, we're reliving way too many movies.
Yeah.
Um, those movies usually end with a lot of people dying, and
Yeah, you're not wrong, bro.
not to say
Yeah.
just basing it off movies, you can base it off books. Back to the religion, I'm really big on like death and like doom and gloom shit. Like
Mhm.
I love shit like that. So when I used to read the Bible as a kid, I would, do you know, are you familiar with like Revelations?
I am not, man.
So it's the last book in the Bible, and it like paints the pictures of the world ending, like Armageddon, like Jesus is returning.
See, I've heard about that.
I read that book
Mhm.
over and over and over and over and over again. I was obsessed with it. I didn't even fuck with the rest of the Bible at that time. All I cared about was the world ending.
But why though? Like,
Just
what
the
was it?
imagery was dope. Like he talking about like four horsemen and like dude, like if you read it, it's crazy. Like
So just the type of image it portrayed, it was
yeah,
just
it was
something
like
dope to
poet.
see.
It was like
Yeah,
poetry to me, and
that's crazy. Yeah.
it was like so just to say like I might know a thing or two about Revelations.
Yeah.
A lot of the shit that it's saying is happening right now.
Yeah.
Like this is gonna happen before he comes. This is gonna happen. It could be another 100 to 200 years. Nobody knows. But I just seeing like yo like
There's a trickling effect
mm-hmm.
going down that you're seeing. Yeah. You're
Yeah.
seeing now. Yeah, yeah. That makes sense, man. It makes fucking sense. Shit, man. The only thing else I want to ask you here is any other artists you fuck with within San Antonio or within other cities in Texas or shit outside of Texas? Because I'm sure you traveled. Um, but any other people that you're actually can say like, damn, that's a fucking dope artist.
Um right now I'm in the studio with Tro. He's like got like it's hard to explain the bag he's in, but he's fucking fire. I kind of just like peeped him for a while, and then we ended up started making music together. Um Jay Allen's coming out with solo music. So he's going by privacy number. Solo music, I don't know why I'm saying that. But he's coming out with his artist music, not just
Mhm.
the producer.
Yep. Yeah.
Shit's fucking cool. It's definitely is in his own bag. The homie, what's his name? Billy Rax be going crazy as fuck. You heard of him?
Yeah, I actually have, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's wild with his I just peep his artistry. We've made songs together, but
Yep.
like his I can respect it. Um, I've been making music with John Kobe. He's fucking fire. He's been working out of Davies too. Like, dude's like a fucking ticking time bomb. Yeah, dude, he's like super low key,
Yeah, yeah,
but
okay, never
he'll
mind.
be coming out with some stuff. He's
Yeah, yeah.
more like on
You said John Kobe?
like a Julian Ski Boat type vibe.
Okay.
You know who that is.
Yeah,
Julian Ski Boat as well is cool.
okay.
Damn, me and him have some fucking songs too, bro. He moved to LA. We're
Sheesh.
gonna finish it though for sure. They're good.
Yeah.
Outside of that, bro, I just been, dude. Like, I don't really listen to too much like
Mhm.
rap and like. I think the best artist out right now, just in general, is Tim's. Tim's, however you say her name.
Yeah.
She's like the
Um,
fucking savior. I feel like,
Artist on Wait For You with Drake and Future?
yeah,
Yeah.
but she has way better shit than that.
Yeah, as I, so
Nothing really impresses me these days. That's what I was trying to get at. Like, Not that I don't think there's a lot of good people out there,
Yeah.
but like, bro, like I'm impressed by real fucking talent now.
Like creative, like
Yeah,
you have
or
to, yeah.
just like that real fucking like her voice is just like a fucking angel.
So a couple things that I do whenever I see new music that I have no idea who it is. So I just check their catalog, see what type of music they've been making.
Mhm.
And I first start with I go to the albums. I use Apple Music, so it's like the star where it has a star was like I guess the most liked song, most listened to song. So I start with that one, and then typically that's usually the song that's kind of the best on the album, and
Mhm.
start with that. And then sometimes, man, I find songs that are like that are on albums that maybe have the less fucking plays, and it's
Yeah,
just the shit that I vibe with. So
the hidden
no, I've
gems.
yeah, I've listened to some of her music.
I don't even, and then I don't listen to much rap to get inspired much anymore. So when you start like going on Spotify to these other genres, they
Yeah.
just you go through a wormhole. Next thing you know, you're like hours in, you found all these artists. Like one artist who I've always been messing with was Bin.
Mhm.
They're like a band from Houston. It's fucking fire. Like nothing like what I make.
Yeah.
Maybe one day, but just that soul, man. Like I think we need more of that soul. That real fucking, you can tell people like those little things that are in their song that you're like, oh, like I feel like they did that for me.
Mhm.
Like it's not just processed. It's like you can feel their fucking spirit in it. Um, I think we're coming back to that.
Yeah. I'm always, I mean, you touched on it earlier. I'm always just down for the creative part. Like if I know you're putting thought and effort, like you can tell that's a weird thing. Like you can actually tell like the type of music people are doing. Like to an extent
Yeah.
that you're actually putting some effort and some creative process to this.
Yeah, man. I'm trying. And, I like to see surround myself with other people that are doing the same thing. You'll see them, bro. Like I said, like I kind of like fucked up though. Like you asked me a question about like
No,
I,
you're good,
my
man.
mind always starts freezing up, but like I'm
Yeah,
trying to surround myself with like-minded individuals.
I feel it, man. Shit. Last question, bro. You've been making music for damn near a good amount of time. Sometimes these people that are making music, maybe just starting, maybe lost their touch, um, maybe are in their bag right now. And they just need some motivation because they're having a little rut. What's some advice to someone that's having trouble right now making music?
I'd say if you're in the studio, like if you're really in the studio and you're having a hard time, then get the fuck out the studio and go live your life. And actually, now you have some inspiration, something to talk about. Dude, I am not. So you have heard what type of music I make,
Yeah, yeah, of
bro? I
course.
am not a fucking grind your ass off type of artist, bro. You'll get like 4 hours of real work out of me in the
Mhm.
studio in one day, and I'm be like, I'm out of here. I don't like overthinking shit. I don't like, oh, we're sitting here like this trying to figure it out, bro. It's dead to me.
You know when to cut it off.
Yeah, you just gotta be like free flowing,
Yeah,
man. Like this shit's art, you know.
yeah.
Come back to it later. Um, Other than that, uh, first off, just make sure it's what you really want, and you're not just trying to like live somebody else's dream. And
Yeah.
if it's what you really want, then it's as long as you just keep trying new things. Don't be afraid to suck. That's the big one.
A lot of people are
Make some
afraid.
make some shitty fucking music, bro. And if people are in the studio that make you feel like, oh, like I don't want to try to make my voice sound like this because this person's here, then that person doesn't need to be in the studio with you.
Yeah.
Just come by yourself and then work with somebody who's not who you might still be nervous at first, but you keep working with that person, you're gonna start feeling you have to catch chemistry. This shit's like sex, bro. Like you get better at it with that one person
It's a good
over time.
analogy.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So y'all gotta build that chemistry. Next thing you know, y'all are doing some crazy shit. You know what I'm saying? So like that's that's what I feel like. Can't be afraid to fuck up.
Yeah. A lot of people have that,
Bro, back in the day, bro, people used to have to spend thousands of dollars to record a song, hundreds of dollars to record a song. If they mess up that take, they have to fucking go get the tape and put in new, and then that's more, bro. Like,
shit, yeah.
yeah, bro, you just press delete and it's gone. It's like you never happened, bro. Nobody knew you ever made that shitty take. Like, don't be afraid.
And you would never have to fucking release it. Like you
Yeah, no,
yeah,
bro, I made hella plenty song,
yeah.
hella shitty songs, bro.
But then again, you don't at that point, you maybe you wouldn't know if it sucks or not.
Well, now my shit it sounds fucking cool. Like if it's to me, people are like, "Yo, dude, let's keep that." I'm like, "Nah, bro, that's fucking garbage." Like,
Yeah.
watch what I do next. But yeah, your over time, like your garbage just starts smelling better.
No. I fuck with that, man. Well, shit. I where can people find you, man? To find their music, find your social media handles, find
Yeah, Swanny Ivy, everywhere. Instagram, Twitter.
and he makes his own websites. Do you make your own websites?
About to, well,
About
I'm
to?
I'm doing it now, but I haven't really got clients or anything. So I'm kind of like in a learning stage.
But your website, did you develop that?
No,
No?
no, I'm about to. So by the time this comes out,
Yeah.
like my website is probably going to be recoded by me. So I'm starting with my shit,
I fuck
and
with
then
that,
I
bro.
got some couple people that I'm gonna build for them, and then I'll be able to launch like my first actual.
I'm laughing because I think you put like developer friends like tap in. I'm lonely or some shit like that. Maybe I'm
Yeah, dude,
paraphrasing it.
it's tough, man.
Yeah,
It's the hardest thing I've ever had to learn, for sure.
yeah.
Hands down, hardest thing I've ever had to learn.
I dabbled into the coding thing a couple years ago when I was in college. Started off with Java
Hmm.
and leaned into to Python a little after that. And yeah, couldn't last, man.
Really?
It's a
You cleared Java?
no, man. I think I was in like my second semester, and then I had a little hardship, and something happened with my catalog in college, so I had to um, transfer majors. But I look back on it now, man, and I wish I would have.
I know,
I
I
wish I
know.
would have had the mindset. I wish I would have.
It's
I,
all
I,
mental. That's why I fuck with it. It's
yeah,
all mental. It has nothing to do with how tech savvy you are,
yeah,
and it's all mental because you're gonna start feeling like you get imposter syndrome like crazy in that shit, bro.
and it's not the fact that, yeah, and on top of that, man, the bag that it comes with if you do know certain languages or if you do that work, like, bro, there's companies out here that are solely based on that, and it's just the fucking not to say that money is the motive, but I mean, you have to live one way or another, but
Yeah,
there's a
bro.
ton of money to be in that fucking,
You need something that's also it's recession proof.
yeah,
Like no, it doesn't matter what's going on in the world. Like
yeah,
websites are gonna need to be made, apps are gonna have to be made, software is gonna have to be updated,
yep.
and there's only gonna be a few people on deck that can know how to do it. So and you can do it from anywhere too. So that's why I fuck with it. Like I'm not trying to get a job. I have a network of people that
Mhm,
are all entrepreneurs. So why not just offer them something more than some cool songs?
yeah. But shit, bro, this has been an experience. One of the things now I'm doing on this season is giving people flowers, and I touched on it a little bit earlier, but man, I'm a fan. I've always peeped your shit. I'm always gonna be a fan from here. I've loved the music, and I appreciate you, man, just coming out the first time and just going on a limb, man, giving me
Yeah,
a chance and
for sure, bro.
starting the process.
And you've come a long way, man. I
Man, I'm
think from that first conversation we've had, like your confidence and everything is like
oh dog.
exuding. Yeah, dude. Yeah, it's completely fucking next level for sure.
I talk to her all the time, man. Like when the way I used to be is totally different. And it was one of those things where I had to break out of my shell. And
Hmm.
it's practice every fucking day.
You weren't afraid to suck, bro. Most people won't get past that part.
Nah, man, trust me, this
And you
shit.
didn't suck, so let me take that back. You didn't suck,
Yeah,
but you weren't afraid to fuck up.
yeah.
And you luckily you didn't. You just keep going and then you keep betting. And then you look back and you're like, oh shit, I'm way fucking better now.
I used to say a lot of likes. I used to say a lot of ums. I used to not be loud. I used to not be able to look someone in the eyes.
Mhm.
Like little shit that yeah, you would never know that will change if you start doing podcasts. And then the
Yeah.
level and the composure and the poise and yeah, man, it's been a process, but
I can see the progress, bro. Keep going for sure.
I appreciate it, bro. I appreciate you coming on here again, man.
Most
This
def.
is shit. Next studio, bro. If we get a next studio or if we stay in this one, yeah, man, you're always welcome back.
Bro, let's keep it going. Like I know time's gonna go on.
Mhm.
Let's have like 4 or 5, 6 of these, and be able to continue to keep tapping in.
Yeah, you're one of the few people that I like tapping in with because of the spiritual side. That's something I've always just been drawn to you. You put me on a lot of shit that we talked about today, and as you keep elevating, we're gonna keep coming back and we're
Yeah,
gonna
it's
keep finding
infinite.
out.
It's
Yeah,
infinite. This shit ain't gonna stop.
yes. I appreciate you,
Most
bro.
definitely, bro.
Yes, sir,
Most
man.
def.
If you're listening right now, I appreciate you. Go ahead and like, comment, subscribe, listen to the music, tap in with him if you fuck with this episode. I know a lot of people can relate to the shit that we talked about today. Season 3, man, episode 2, 3, whatever it is. I appreciate y'all. Peace.